All right. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to tourismtechnology.com's webinar on blogging. My name is Jennifer Brown, and I'm with Hospitality Newfoundland and Labrador in St. John's, Newfoundland. We're very pleased that you could join us here today, and I'd like to acknowledge participation from our partners on this project, the provinces of New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, and Newfoundland and Labrador, and the tourism industry associations of each province, including the Tourism Industry Association of New Brunswick, the Tourism Industry Association of Prince Edward Island, and Hospitality Newfoundland and Labrador, and of course, Tourism Atlantic, ACOA. The aim of tourismtechnology.com is to empower tourism operators in Atlantic Canada to improve their competitiveness by effectively using online technology. Tourismtechnology.com provides operators with the skills, knowledge, and expertise to take advantage of current online tools and resources. Tourismtechnology.com offers one-on-one mentoring, workshops, and tutorials, all ranging from basic to advanced levels of learning. If you're following along online today, please feel free to tweet or post using the hashtag tourismtech. We will do a Q&A at the end of the presentation, but please feel free to type your message in the chat box located on the right of your screen. If you're listening through your telephone, we ask you to please press *6 to mute your line and press #6 to unmute if you'd like to ask a question at the end of the webinar. So we have Jake McLaren from Larmahil here with us today. Born and raised in Western Canada, Jake has worked in the Alberta oil fields as a sales and marketing professional since the late 90s. Looking for a new pace of life, he migrated east, settling in Prince Edward Island. On September 1st, 2016, Jake started Larmahil, a CRM consulting agency with the mission to connect small and medium-sized businesses in Atlantic Canada with the best fit CRM platform for their business. Larmahil was created to help business owners with industry-leading contact management, sales, and marketing solutions. So without further ado, I'll pass it over to Jake to get started.
Hello, can everybody hear me okay? Yes, I hope so. If not, please type something in the comments so I know I'm speaking to nobody. So CRM consulting is customer relationship management software. And the reason why blogging is important to what I do is because in the CRM industry, it's completely dominated by software programmers, developers, and the creators of these platforms who want to push their own agenda in their own platform, which makes search engine optimization and things like that extremely difficult. So I had to become a self-taught blogger, and I had to figure out the best way to get my message out to people and compete in a very, very noisy marketplace. So that's basically how I got started with blogging myself, and then through my self-education on CRM technology and different methods of promoting content, I found that there are definitely do's and don'ts when it comes to blogging. One thing that I do want to qualify right now is I'm not going to be talking about specific platforms for blogging like Blogger or WordPress. The fact is, you can write a blog from anywhere. You can create a blog inside LinkedIn, or you can go to medium.com and create a free one. You don't actually have to have a website in order to start blogging. So what we're going to cover today is, I'll just get to the first slide here. What we're going to cover today are finding ways to write about topics and basically make what you're writing about relevant to your business and your audience. How often you should be writing, some of the reasons why you should be writing more often than you are. And then once you write something, how do you promote it? How do you get eyeballs on it and get it out there? Once it's out there, how do you know if it's working or being successful, and what do you have to do to adjust your strategy? And then finally, there is a ideal way to structure your blog to encourage people to read on, ask more questions, and convert into visitors. So first and foremost, blog is a lot like a shoehorn. Not everybody knows what it is, but they've heard of it. They don't really use it. They don't really know why it exists. But when you use it properly, it's going to help your business out significantly. Just like using a shoehorn will make your shoes last longer and easier to get on and off, writing a blog is going to help draw traffic to your website. So companies that blog regularly statistically see about, well, it's close to 3.5 times more visitors. So that's not percentage, that's time. So if you have 100 visitors a month and you start blogging regularly, you can expect that after a period of time of blogging, your visitor rate will go up to about 330 visitors a month. And that's been proven over the last 10 years as blogs have developed. Companies who blog regularly generate more leads. And as we progress through the presentation here, you'll see that leads come from the ways that you present information inside your blog, using call to actions and things that people can click on to book meetings or book services or visit other pages of your website that might convert them into sales. Blogging is absolutely essential to your overall SEO strategy. We'll get into that a little bit later. And internet users most often are going to turn to a blog for help rather than a company website. So what I mean by people are going to turn to a blog for help is very rarely does something ever happen where you would want to go to the home page of a website to find an answer or a solution. So when we speak to a search engine, we typically are talking about, how do I solve a problem? What's the best, most effective way to solve a problem? And the language that we use in the search engine is going to put up results that answer questions. So in this webinar, we're going to cover 5 important steps to getting started with blogging. And you all have access to this presentation. You can download it. I put the link in the comment section up at the top. After it's over or at any point during the webinar, you can just go to that link, fill in the quick form, and you'll receive a PDF version of all these slides to keep for your own reference later on. So identifying topics to write about is probably the biggest obstacle in getting started with blogging. We're very self-conscious as people, and some of us don't like to share our opinions on subjects, and we don't think that our opinion is important. So the concept of creating a blog post to share our knowledge and our opinion can actually be kind of petrifying for a lot of business owners, and the main reason why they don't get started with blogging. So some things that you can do to alleviate this concern is just ask yourself a couple quick questions. Who are you writing for? What problems are you trying to solve? How does your audience look for a solution to that problem? And what are some other topics that are related to it that they might find helpful? So when we're identifying who to write for, it's important to segment your audience. If you have multiple target audiences, then you may want to write multiple blog posts and change the wording, change the verbiage a little bit differently. We'll get into that in a second. But segmenting your audience is going to help increase value to your blog itself for the person who is. Okay. Hopefully I'm back, and hopefully we didn't lose anything there. So segmenting your audience is important by knowing your target customer. This is basically the same as if you're going to buy a radio advertisement and you want to put the advertisement on at the time of day that is best for the audience that you're pursuing. probably not the most ideal to advertise feminine products during the Super Bowl halftime show or things like that. So it's the same basic concept. If you want an audience to buy into your blog, you want to segment and write for who you're trying to reach. What problem are we trying to solve? This is what I alluded to with the way that people search for items. So if I spill red wine on my carpet, I'm going to go to Google and I'm going to say, how do I remove red wine from my carpet before my wife kills me? And Google is not going to come back to me and say, a Dyson vacuum is going to remove your red wine stain. However, Dyson vacuums may have a blog article that says 5 great ways to remove red wine from a carpet, and then down at the bottom of their blog, they'll have a call to action that says buy a Dyson vacuum. So you can see that you can end up with people visiting your website by offering them a solution to a problem rather than just writing an article that says, my company is great, my service is great, buy from me, do this with me right now. Because basically nobody's going to read that. So understanding how one of the ways that search engines will identify keywords is in the titles, and you want to look for similarities in how people are searching for stuff and target those keywords for how they're searching. So for example, you might want to promote, let's say a skate park is across the street from your business, and you know that when the skate park's busy, you get more business. So it's in your best interest to have people visit that skate park as often as possible, and that is a really quick and easy subject that you can write about. So by creating a nice long title like the funnest skate park in Halifax offers free entertainment for families, initially you might go, that is an absolutely ridiculous title for a blog, but you can see that in having a longer title, we're able to cover off more keywords that affect more of our target audience in how people search. So one of the things I noticed is a lot of people will put very short and very succinct titles in their blogs, but statistically, if your title contains 6 to 13 words, it's going to be viewed more often, primarily because of this whole keyword philosophy and search engine saying the longer the title, the more problems that you're solving and the more you can be matched up with them. So once you basically write one topic or you find one idea to write about, then it becomes a little bit easier to pick your second, your third, your fourth topic on a subject. If the skate park draws attention to your business and having people go to the skate park brings attention to your business, then logic would say other things in your neighborhood would have the same effect. So you can, maybe you want to write about the restaurants that are close to your hotel, or you want to write about the shopping that's close to your hotel, or if you are a restaurant, maybe you want to talk about the hotels and places to stay that are close to you. So again, you're trying to solve problems, you're trying to use verbiage that makes sense to the people who are searching, so that traffic can come to your blog, traffic can come to your website, and eventually traffic can come through your front door. One tool that I like to use when I'm struggling for topics to write about is there are blog topic generators on the internet. It's really quite simple. You go to the URL that's displayed on the screen here, and you just type in a couple of words on a subject that you want to write about, and it'll spit out 5 great titles that you can use for that subject. And the information that it's putting out there is actually based on what people are searching for. So again, if you're trying to write about, or you're trying to talk about how to get red wine out of a carpet, then you would go to the topic generator, you'd punch in something like removing red wine stains, and it'll give you 10 titles or 5 titles, sorry, 5, not 10. It'll give you 5 titles that relate to what people are searching for around that topic. And once you have an idea of what to write about, then it becomes easier to start structuring the blog itself. So the million-dollar question is, how often should we blog? And before I go to the next slide, I'm going to pre-qualify this and say the companies that are most successful have more than one person doing it. And you might look at the next slide and go, oh my goodness, that's insane. I can never do that. But if you have staff, if you have a team, if you have multiple people in your organization, then share the workload, assign time for each of them to contribute to your overall strategy, because the simple answer is the more you blog, the more traffic you're going to get. You should blog as much as possible without sacrificing the quality of your business. From personal experience, Larmahil has been in business for 14 months. That's roughly 60 weeks. And I have written 35 blog articles for Larmahil plus a dozen or so for clients. So I'm spitting out content at a pace of about once every 7 to 10 days. And honestly, that is not enough. Companies who blog 16 times per month immediately see 3.5 times more traffic than companies who publish 0 to 4 times a month. So if your intention is to spit out an article once a week, that's good, but twice a week is going to get you twice as much more traffic. And then in relation to that, blogging 16 times per month will get you more leads. Again, logic being more traffic equals more leads. Blogging is really effective for B2B companies. They can generally get away with a little bit less because they're solving fewer problems. B2C, if your end customer is a consumer purchasing a product, then you have a larger audience to speak to, so you should be blogging more frequently than B2B who might have a smaller audience to speak to. And then just, again, reaffirming that more traffic equals more leads. So the idea of blogging 16 times a month is really daunting, but you have to remember that not all blog articles need to be 17-page essays, double-spaced with references and amazing grammar and punctuation, plot lines, storylines, and character development. We're not writing novels. We're basically answering simple questions, and the most effective blog posts are going to be between 500 and 800 words, which literally translates out to about a page and a half inside any word processor that you're going to be using. Stay focused and on subject. If you're writing about the skate park, then only write about the skate park. Don't start talking about the ice cream parlor across the street from the skate park and changing focus. Save that for your next article. You can make reference to it at the beginning or at the end. Last week we talked about the ice cream shop. This week we're going to talk about the skate park or whatever. And that'll help you with linking and tying all your blogs together, but be very, very focused on a single subject with each blog, and remember that you're trying to solve a single problem. And then the last tip, and this will actually help you stay focused and on subject, is if you don't riddle your blog article with a bunch of industry jargon that doesn't make sense to people, then you don't have to explain it. You don't have to add in 2 or 3 sentences to explain what CRM is or something to that effect. So whenever possible, use simple language, keep it short, and keep it focused, and you'll be able to bang out these articles in no time. Another free tidbit that you have with this particular webinar and this ebook is just a PDF calendar that will help you map out your blogging strategy. It's really useful, especially if your goal is to blog 8 to 10 times a month. You just sit down at the beginning of the month, you fill in the spreadsheet with the different topics, keywords, who's writing it, and what they're writing about, and it'll help you keep you organized and on point and on subject. Okay, so promoting the blog. This is great because what's the point in writing something if nobody's going to read it? Well, the point in writing something if nobody's going to read it is chances are once it's on the internet, it's on the internet forever, and somebody is going to find it at some point down the road. So keep in mind that promoting blog content is different than just promoting your website. The way that you promote blog content, obviously you're going to use social media, you can use your email marketing, and you can use internal linking between your blog. But keywords and search engine optimization becomes extremely important when you're blogging because that's how people find solutions to problems. So when it comes to social media and promoting your blog content, you want to be aware of which social media platform you are trying to present your idea on. And that's going to affect the language that you use when it comes to promoting it. So we know that Facebook is more of a conversational platform. Facebook was never intended for businesses to be on it, and people don't like advertisements in their Facebook feed. So if somebody likes your Facebook page and you are presenting them with your latest blog article, you want to present it in a manner that's conversational. With Twitter, we can be a little bit more creative. We have limited space to use, so you want to take advantage of hashtags and @ and all the little tips and tricks that you can use to promote your content there. But again, you can't write 500 characters or 1,000 characters to really explain what your blog's about. So you want to be a little bit creative with it and succinct. LinkedIn is a professional platform, and I can tell you from firsthand experience that your network on LinkedIn doesn't want unprofessional content. They are aware of what kind of language you're using, and they want your content to be valuable and add to their news feed. They don't necessarily want hashtag smiley faces and all the things that we're going to find on other social media. So try to be a little bit more professional on LinkedIn. Instagram, obviously it's a picture platform, so be very visual. Make sure that when you pick a picture for your blog article, you're picking something that kind of explains what the blog's about in the picture itself. And then with Google+, nobody uses Google+, but be very specific because you know who does use Google+ is Google itself. So when you post your blog article, make sure you include it on Google+, because Google will actually rank your blog article word for word based on the title that you put. And that is a great little trick for putting your article on the first page of a Google search where the competition is very, very difficult. So with Google+, be specific. Don't worry if you don't have a big audience because Google respects their Google+ platform and they will grab your content and they will push it out for the world to see from there. Once you know which avenues you're going to be promoting your blog on, that's also going to help you structure the tone of the blog and basically the message that you're trying to get across. So I have two images here. This is the exact same article, 6 strategies to help you brainstorm better. One was posted to LinkedIn, one was posted to Facebook. So brilliant ideas crop up when you bring people together, but you've got to nourish the process. That one was for Facebook. It's a little bit more conversational. And then for LinkedIn, they said brainstorming sessions often end with half-baked ideas, few action items, and team members who resent the interruption. So again, professional speaking to professional pain points. Somebody trying to run a brainstorming session within a company and finding that it was just a waste of time might actually want to read the 6 strategies to help you brainstorm better. Okay, so some tips on search engine optimization. Page titles, extremely important. Page titles are one of the first things that search engines use, and you want to make sure that you include keywords in your page title. Do not have your page title be more than 70 characters long. Characters are different than words. So in a previous comment, I said your blog title should be between 6 to 13 words, but your page title needs to be 70 characters or less. So character is a space. A word is a word. And the words relate to keywords for searches, and the characters relate to the amount of content that search engines are going to display in the search itself. So try to stay under 17 characters, but use up to 10 words, or up to 13 words. Meta description, so underneath the title there's usually a description. That one they give you 160. Again, make sure you include at least one keyword in your description. Keep your description to 160 characters. H1 tags, this used to be, 5 years ago, this used to be the big trick that everyone was using to dominate search engines. They would just put H1 tags all over their page, and search engines would come through and go, ooh, H1 tag, this must be important. So Google made an adjustment to their algorithm and said, we're not going to index pages that are just riddled with H1 tags. So when you're making your page, make sure you're not putting too many titles on it. Make sure that all of your images have text behind them. Don't just randomly put an image in your blog and not attach alternative text behind it. Email marketing is an extremely effective way to push your blog out there and get people reading it. I took a screenshot. This is from my actual mailbox for one of the blogs that I'm subscribed to. And you'll see that they post, looks like about once a week, or they attempt to go twice a week. It always comes from the same person. It always has a catchy title, subject line, and a good description of what's in the article. I basically just isolated that. So one thing when you create email marketing around your blog is you want to have people subscribe to your blog. So if you have people subscribe to your blog and your subscription form says, sign up for our weekly blog, and then you don't keep your promise and you start sending them blog articles every single day, chances are they're going to unsubscribe. If you say sign up for our weekly blog and then you blog once a month, they're going to be like, hey, what the heck, where is this blog that I signed up for? They're going to forget about you, or they're not going to read it, or they're going to unsubscribe. So you can deliver your blog as soon as you write it. You can deliver it once a day, once a week, once a month. It's entirely up to you, but the only recommendation that I have is whatever you promise, keep your promise, and that's how you'll keep people happy. Linking inside of a blog, we'll get into this a little bit later on. I alluded to it earlier. You know, you can write a blog article about one subject and reference another subject. When you reference that other subject, you want to include a link that takes them to that. Inbound links are links that come from external sources. So if you write a blog article about 5 great places to stay in New Brunswick, and the Tourism Association picks up your article and says, here, read this fantastic article about 5 great places to stay, that's an inbound link to your blog, and that's going to help boost your search engine rank, because what a search engine sees is, wow, this article has value, and somebody else sees that it has value, and they are directing traffic to it, so I'm going to rank it higher. Internal links are when you're referencing your own work or you're referencing your website or a page on your website. That's an internal link, and internal linking is important for structure and navigation, but it's not going to help you a lot with search engine optimization. So when you post on social media and you link it back to your blog article, you're actually helping yourself with an inbound link from your social media network. So that's why, even if you don't believe that you have a lot of customers who live on LinkedIn or Instagram or Pinterest or these other platforms, creating content for those platforms and then linking it back to your blog is going to create an inbound link from an external source, and it's going to help you with search engine optimization, and it's going to make your blog pages rank higher. So promoting your blog can be extremely frustrating sometimes. I've had this happen. I write a great article, or what I think is a great article, and I post it on all of my social media networks, and I email it out to all of my fans and subscribers, and then crickets. Nobody views it, nobody reads it, and I get frustrated and I say, why am I doing this? It's a waste of time. But I came across this statistic from one of my favorite sources. HubSpot is the industry authority on inbound marketing and content marketing. They create more content than any other platform in the business. And their statistics show that 75% of their views come from old posts. So it's not about the most recent and most relevant, it's not about the most recent post, it's about the most relevant post. So pick a subject, be an authority on the subject, and eventually people are going to ask that question and come find you. It doesn't have to be instant results. What you're doing is you're creating a long-term web presence that, 5 years from now, I could go to a search engine and I could type in places to stay in Newfoundland, and the blog article, 10 must-see places to stay in Newfoundland, could be the #1 ranked from 5 years ago or whatever. And as long as it's offering valuable content, I'm going to read it, I'm going to click on it, and hopefully at some point I'm going to convert and go visit the places that I'm told to. So measuring and optimizing your strategy is all about keeping track. Write a blog post, see who's reading it, see what worked with it. Don't just blindly shout into the wind. Make sure that whatever platform you choose, whether it's WordPress or LinkedIn or Blogger or Medium or any of these platforms, all of them are going to give you analytics that say X number of people are reading your blog, they visited this page, and then they were here for this long and they did that. So pay attention to the numbers, and that's actually going to help you in setting out your strategy. If you find over time that your articles that you write that offer tips and tricks generate more traffic and have more interest than articles that don't offer tips, then that tells you that in the future your blogging strategy needs to focus more on tips and tricks. Page titles, you've seen them all over the place. Lists like 5 best, 5 greatest, 5 most important, those tend to get a lot of views. So if you track and monitor the progress and you see that, hey, when I write an article and I title it 5 important things to know, it tends to get more views than when I write an article that says things you should know. That's going to adjust your page titling moving forward and increase your traffic and conversion rates. Try to set some measurable goals with your blog. This, more importantly than anything else, this just encourages you to keep doing it. And so not necessarily a measurable goal about, hey, I want 1,000 people to read my blog, but I have a goal that I want to publish a blog post every 10 days at the minimum. So that helps keep me on track and helps me map out my strategy. I can kick myself in the butt a little bit when it goes 2 or 3 weeks and I haven't written some content. So I try to set measurable goals for things like how many blogs I want to write on a specific subject, how often do I want to write, and what audiences I want to write for. So when some of the numbers that are important that you're looking at when you look at your blog is brand awareness. Is your social media working? Are you getting more Facebook followers? Are you getting more Twitter followers? Are they engaging in your product, liking it, sharing it, retweeting it, because that's going to increase the number of eyeballs that see it? Is your blog actually converting? Are you writing a blog with the purpose of converting? Do you have a button somewhere on there, or do you have a link somewhere on there that takes them to your registration page or your booking page? And are you able to track how many people are visiting your booking page through the blog that you're writing? And then if they are visiting your booking page, we want to know, are they converting? Are they becoming customers? Are they visiting the booking page and then leaving? So connect is the engagement, the social media engagement. Engage is the number of new people that are entering into your prospects and pipeline. And then growth is the number of sales that you're getting as a result of your blog. So the meat and potatoes of how to structure a blog post. All right. So down on the bottom, there is a link where you can actually go to my most recent blog post. And as you can see, I wrote it on November 19th, which means I'm now behind my schedule. We're sitting here at December 6th, and this is my most recent post. So I need to get writing, and I need to create a new article. My title, Setting Up a Sales Plan for Your Company's Growth Strategy, has the right number of words in it, and the keywords that I'm targeting in that title are setting up a sales plan, your company's growth strategy, and growth strategy. So those are the 4 main topics that I'm trying to rank for with this particular blog post. The other thing that my title does is it gives a clear expectation to the reader of what they're going to find in the article. It's really tempting when you start blogging to just blog anonymously, especially if you feel like you're not an authority on the subject that you're writing about, or you're a little self-conscious about putting your name or attaching your name to something, but it's actually important that you give information about who's writing so that people can relate better to it. They can read it in a more personal manner. So make sure that you include your name. Make sure that you include the date. The date is relevant. Sometimes when I search for a solution to a problem and the date on there is from a number of years ago, well, especially in the technology business, I know that technology changes daily. So chances are an article from 2011 or 2012 is probably not going to solve, Google's most recent algorithm update. So before I said, an article from 5 years ago could solve the problem, and it absolutely could. But at the same time, you want your reader to know that the information that they're getting is current, up-to-date, and relevant. Tagging means that what other articles or what other topics does this relate to. So in this particular stream, my tags are CRM, sales, sales enablement, and sales CRM. So again, I'm targeting keywords that are related to business sales, and then the other articles that are related to that are sales enablement and sales CRM. So if people click on those tags, they're going to find other topics related to that. When you create an internal link, you want to make sure that it stands out, it looks different. Use a different color font, make sure that you're underlining it. Internal linking. So in this particular paragraph, we have an internal link going to another blog article about aligning your sales goals. And then I have a call to action in there as well with a free piece of downloadable content for people that they can get the sales plan template there. So made sure that both those links stood out and they were slightly different than the rest of the text around the page. At the bottom of the article, I have a nice large picture with a very clear call to action. It says, I'm going to help you with sales enablement strategy. Click here to learn more. And then right above that, I have another internal link to another page on my website. And most importantly, when you structure your blog, you want to make sure that you give your audience an opportunity to share it with their network. Include as many networks as you can. In this particular instance, I have Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Tumblr, and email plus Google+. So that's my very brief presentation on how to get started with blogging. At this point, we can open it up to some questions that anybody might have. If the host is still here, she can jump back in and remind you guys how to turn your speakers on and off to ask your questions, or you can just type them into the chat box.
Yeah, so if you are on the phone, you can press #6 to unmute your line and ask a question verbally, or you can type a question in the chat box on the right of your screen. Did anybody have any questions? I think it was really great how you talked about the length of the title. I wasn't actually aware that it should be 6 to 13 words. In previous writing positions, I always kept my title so brief, so that was really something that I took away. And I also liked how you mentioned, sharing the workload, because just having one person writing all those blogs, that's so much time and effort. And I liked the sharing of the workload because you kind of get different perspectives from your company.
Yeah, for sure. And it'll actually make your employees feel a little bit more involved in the process, and they'll be eager to share it with their network and friends and be like, hey, my boss asked me to do this, and check it out and read it, and then all of a sudden you get that mini viral effect of additional eyeballs on your site. So definitely, obviously you want to maintain control of the situation, and you want to make sure that what they're writing is consistent with what your company. You can easily create some writing guidelines. There's a lot of great resources online that say, what are some writing guidelines that we should follow as a company, and that'll help set tone and structure. But yeah, for sure, don't be afraid to get the front desk person, or if you have a salesperson, they're usually a great person to involve in the content creation process, because they're the ones that field the most questions. Your front desk person is the one who gets asked every single day, hey, what is there to do around here? So maybe they're the best person to write about that subject.
So say you had a front desk person write a blog, would you suggest having that person's name listed as the contributor, or would it be sent from the company's name? Kind of giving his personality like you mentioned?
If this person is going to be a regular contributor to the blog and you have them scheduled to write one post a month or a couple posts a month, then absolutely give them a profile, and that'll help you link their other works to them as well. And if I go to a site and I really like the language that one person's using and I want to read more of their information, having a profile and linking it to that profile is going to be, hey, more subjects from this author versus clumping everything together from Larmahil. So I've had guest content creators come into my company in the past and help me out with the blogging process, and I don't just clump it all under Larmahil because if they can relate to the way that the person's writing, and they want to read more about their articles, then I need to facilitate that and make sure that they have a way to find that, instead of, putting everything under a corporate structure and then the reader doesn't know what to expect. Is this going to be Jake's article? Is this going to be Robert's article? And that's going to add value too.
Awesome, thank you. Did anybody have any questions?
Okay, well, if anything comes up later, I'm always available. You can go to larmahil.com and shoot me an email, give me a call. I'm always happy to talk about anything. Blogging is, like I said, something that I've been doing for about 1.5 years. And the more I do it, the more value I see in it. So it's kind of like a gym membership. Don't just subscribe to a blog and then never use it. Go sign up for a blog and then actually use it, and you'll see benefits from that use. All right?
Awesome, thank you. So if you are wondering what your next learning steps might be following this presentation, there are many technology learning options available to you simply by contacting your Provincial Tourism Industry Association. We will be happy to help you determine your next steps, whether they be one-on-one mentoring, further workshops or training opportunities, or if you simply have questions regarding your online technology. Thank you again, Jake. It was a great presentation, and we had a lot of valuable information covered today. I'm getting excited to go home and do some writing. So check out tourismtechnology.com for a complete list of resources, or call your Provincial Tourism Industry Association. We have Jason Ferris at TINB, Allison Clark at TIPI, and myself, Jennifer Brown, at H&L. Again, thank you to our project partners, the provinces of New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, and Newfoundland and Labrador, and the Tourism Industry Association of each province, including the Tourism Industry Association of New Brunswick, the Tourism Industry Association of Prince Edward Island, and Hospitality Newfoundland and Labrador, and of course, Tourism Atlantic ACOA. Thank you everyone for joining today, and we look forward to working together in the future.